As Russia and its former Soviet Union satellite states were marking the 69th anniversary of the victory over Nazi Germany, clashes once again erupted in Ukraine's east, leaving a number of casualties. The violence broke out as Russia's president was visiting the Black Sea Peninsula and Crimea. This report takes a look at V-Day events.
A show of victory less than 2 months after the Black Sea Peninsula of Crimea was reintegrated into the Russian Federation.
Поздравляю вас с 69-й годовщиной победы в Великой Отечественной войне.
Vladimir Putin, who was on his first visit to the region, told the people in Sevastopol that Crimea's accession to the Russian Federation has made the country more powerful than before.
There's a lot of work ahead, but we will overcome all difficulties because we are together, which means we have become stronger.
People in Sevastopol reacted happily to Putin's remarks.
We are very happy to be born and live in Crimea. Vladimir Vladimirovich, thank you for Crimea.
Sevastopol is part of Russia, and the pressure from the West won't change anything. Putin is here in his country. He is our citizen and the first personality of this country. That's why nobody can tell him to which city he can go to or not. And he's in Sevastopol. It's the third federal city of Russia. It's the pride of Russia.
But Ukraine's interim government, the United States and NATO all slammed Putin's visit. Kiev accused the Kremlin of a deliberate provocation. NATO called the visit inappropriate, and the White House said it would only fuel the tensions. At the same time, the European Union said it will increase on Monday its sanctions on Russian individuals and companies over the Ukraine crisis. The V-Day parades were held in other Ukrainian cities, including Odessa, Luhansk, Donetsk and Slavyansk by pro-Russian crowds. However, in the southeastern port city of Mariupol, things got ugly after Ukrainian army troops killed many pro-Russia activists. The army was trying to retake a police station controlled by pro-Moscow crowds.
This is caliber 45. These are smoke grenades. All these have been used against civilians.
The latest violence comes ahead of a referendum which citizens of Ukraine's east are planning to hold on Sunday. Ukrainian officials have admitted that they cannot prevent the vote. Trying to calm down the situation, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov spoke with his American counterpart John Kerry. Lavrov told Kerry that Kiev should hold dialogue with the citizens of the east. He also asked for an end to the Ukrainian army's operation in the east.
Now we're going to cross over to Bozeman. Joining us is Charlie McGrath. He's a host of Rents Radio. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV, sir. Now, first of all, as we just mentioned in this report, Sunday we'll see the referendum that many in eastern and southeastern parts of Ukraine want to hold regarding their status as to whether they want to remain with Ukraine or not. In the light of the crackdown that's taking place by the hands of the interim government in Kiev's forces, how do you see that referendum panning out?
I see it panning out in favor of these people that are being shot down by the pro-Western implemented Ukraine government. It's going to turn out in the favor of Russia. How could it not? 20+ people today dead at the hands of the interim, so-called interim Ukraine government.
But looking at how the international community is reacting to the Russian president's visit to Crimea, how do you see them reacting to this referendum?
They're going to absolutely go ballistic come Monday morning, as your report said. They're going to line up more sanctions. And it's a real dangerous game, right? It's a real dangerous game the West is playing, especially because, it isn't destabilizing now the Middle East or North Africa. It's Eastern Europe, and it happens to be Russia who controls 34% of the energy resources flowing across Ukraine into Europe. Certainly has the power and certainly has the position to completely eradicate any hope of a sustaining economic future, in the near future anyway, for Russia. So I think there's panic in the West, and it's justified because, the genie is out of the bottle when it comes to Ukraine. And you don't have to take a journalist's word for it here in Bozeman, Montana. You can listen to Congressman Dennis Kucinich on March 4th saying exactly how we got into this situation when we implement USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy and 65 programs and billions of dollars to destabilize Ukraine and get their puppet government in there. Well, this is the end result. We have an absolute mess, and a large part of this problem is shouldered by the West, in my opinion.
All right, but looking at how much is at stake, as you've just outlined in your answer there, wouldn't it benefit both sides, all sides rather, for the tensions to simmer down? And how do you think that can be achieved?
It's not going to benefit the West. Look, I mean, the model is simple. Destabilize, swoop in with the IMF, implement austerity, implement technocratic control of your nation, reverse any progress in sovereignty of your nation, and turn you basically into a puppet state for the International Monetary Fund. So no, it wouldn't behoove the IMF in the West to have a stable Ukraine. Now that's of course what they're going to say when the cameras are on, but it doesn't let them implement their technocratic dream of getting more austerity onto the people of Europe, in this case inside of Ukraine.
And very quickly, if you can, Mr. McGrath, speaking of the Crimea region particularly, do you think that the U.S. and the West miscalculated how Russia would respond by creating the crisis in Ukraine in the first place?
Well, I don't know if it was a miscalculation or not. I have to think with all the alphabet intelligence agencies, there's got to be wargaming from morning till night, and that this couldn't be seen coming down the road. Of course, Russia isn't going to want NATO that much closer to the Russian border. Of course, the IMF coming in there with their big grand plan of austerity is going to be met with resistance, especially after years and years, especially since 2008, seeing Europe fall prey to technocrats. So I don't think that I mean, I think we'd have to be naive to believe that the West didn't see that potentially destabilization to this extreme was in the forecast.
All right, let's wait and see how this pans out. That was Charlie McGrath, host of Ren's Radio, joining us via Skype from Bozeman. Many thanks indeed, sir, for your comments here on Press TV.